Well, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, wherever you may happen to be in the world. Welcome one, welcome all to this very, very first IAG Live Streaming Show. And we've been working on this for a few weeks, rehearsing and getting it ready. Natural progression for IAG to do something different. And this live streaming show is what it is. So we're very excited about it. Of course, we'll have a very small time. So we're going to be doing this every Friday, 10 a.m. Macau time, wherever I happen to be in the world, wrapping up the week's news in the Asia Pacific gaming industry and integrated resort industry. And I'll be having guests on the show from time to time. And in the background, behind the scenes, is our studio producer, Oscar Guiaro. He's with me now behind the scenes. I'm sure, Oscar, you're fixing up whatever you're fixing up. Ben, take over. Oscar, put me in. Okay, I'm back and live apparently. Well, guess what? We did a whole bunch of rehearsals and nothing is bad rehearsals. So there you go. That's the nature of live TV. They tell me I'm back and live now, which is fantastic. So sorry.
Well, hello everybody. Nothing like a few technical problems to kick us off here with our initial IAG live streaming show. Just waiting for Andrew's bandwidth to improve, I suppose. Perhaps, Oscar, we should just cut back to our graphic in the meantime, and we can rejoin everybody shortly once we get Andrew's issues solved.
Okay, now we've gone to live again. All right, we seem to be back. Well, there you go. All the best laid plans, and then they go wrong. So sorry about that. We did a whole bunch of rehearsals, and none of them went as badly as this. So all of them went very, very fine and smoothly. So anyway, I'll start again from the beginning. So good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Welcome welcome all to the IAG live streaming show. This is live television. You've seen an example of what can go wrong. Not quite sure what went wrong. We'll do a debrief later. But anyway, the show has begun. And to help me with the show, we will have, hopefully, IAG Managing Editor Ben Blaschke. Come on in, Ben.
Hi, Andrew. A bit of drama to start the day. Nothing like that to get the heart racing.
What happened there? Did I freeze up somewhere? Did I?
Yes, you froze. You started breaking up and then you froze completely. So
I've got a very good internet connection. Not sure what's going on there. So we've got three of us. We've got Oscar Giaro, our studio producer at the moment. Am I back?
You're with us, Andrew. Yep.
Okay, I don't know what's going on, but there's some issue with the connection. So, which in any of our rehearsals hasn't happened. We seem to be back again now. So hopefully we can just get on with the show. So, all right, let's do some actual IAGing. So we've had a big week of news this week, haven't we, Ben? Quite a lot going on in the industry.
Yep. Never a dull moment. Of course, earnings season kicked off this week for the Macau names with Las Vegas Sands and Sands China. Plenty going on in the Philippines, of course. E-games, results season over there starting as well. And just plenty happening around the world as it always seems to be, which is good for our business, Andrew.
Absolutely. All right. Well, what we'll do is we'll pull up some of the stories that we did in the last week and have a bit of a chat about them. So, Oscar, if you can pull up the first story in our list, and Ben, I can have a bit of commentary on that. Okay, looks like I've got some kind of weird connection issue at the moment, I think.
Yeah, could
yes.
be, Andrew.
Okay. All right. Ben. Yeah, I think so. You go ahead, Ben.
Yep, and join me when you're not breaking up, Andrew. You join me. So this is one of the very, very interesting stories that has come out over the past week or so related to Star Entertainment Group's ongoing issues, particularly around their Brisbane development, Queen's Wharf. And the news reported originally by the Australian Financial Review that Crown Resorts is possibly being eyed by Star's Hong Kong partners Chow Tai Fook and Far East Consortium to take over the casino management at Queen's Wharf. Now, that's interesting on multiple levels. Now, of course, Star is looking to sell its 50% stake in Brisbane to its Hong Kong partners. It currently, under that deal, would continue casino management operations until March 2026, under which time the Hong Kong partners would allegedly looking for a new company to run the casino in Brisbane. Now, it's interesting that it's Crown, because Crown and Star have always been the number one and number two in Australia, long-time rivals. They're now directly head-to-head in Sydney, where they each own a casino. And, of course, Crown was right in the running to win the bid 10 years ago for Brisbane, and Star came along and sort of stuck under their noses and won that bid. So plenty of interest in that one. Andrew, it looks like you are with me at the moment. What are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, I think I'm with you. Look, I think it's interesting that I think this is just a move by Chow Tai Fook and Far East to try to create some competition for Star for running the Brisbane property. So Star Brisbane property probably up again. Looks like I'm breaking and coming in and out again. Don't know why, because I've got a really good connection, but that's very strange. Anyway, I think it's all about that. I think it's about creating some competition for Star. So let's see how that plays out. It'll be interesting. I'll be in Australia in the next few weeks. Probably get some information while I'm there. So let's see how that plays out. Let's jump to the next one, because we've got quite a few to get through. Yeah, this is an interesting one. Good job by Mr. Hahn over the years up there at Clark, and now to the point where he's going to do an IPO, 200 million IPO. It's always busy where Hahn, when we're up there at Clark, Hahn's got about 50% of all the GGR of all the Clark properties, and it's always busy, isn't it, Ben?
It is, yeah. I mean, they've been talking about this behind the scenes for probably a year or more now, I think, up there at Hahn. As you say, the clear number one in Clark. Certainly very impressive property. Great to visit. Really, really stands out head and shoulders above the rest up in Clark, although certainly there are moves from some of the rivals to try and catch up. But of course, this 200 million plus IPO is raising funds for a lot of expansion initiatives happening up there, Andrew. There's ongoing expansion now of the existing Hahn Casino Resort, plus of course the Hahn Reserve, the luxury Hahn Reserve development going on in New Clark City nearby.
Yes, I mean, it's always even just the development they're doing out the back there at the moment. It's always very busy weeknights and weekends there. So the extra gaming floor that they're creating out the back there is great. And then you've got the wider Hahn Reserve as well, which is a great development. Anyway, let's move on to the next one. What else have we got for the viewers, Oscar? Hey, this is interesting, isn't it? Mandatory carded play trial in Victoria. This seems to be the way that Australia is going, isn't it? This mandatory carded play, Ben, you're all over that.
Yeah, I mean, this again really links back to its origins are in the inquiries into Crown and Star. Mandatory carded play across Australia's casinos has sort of been the result of that. That's been happening across the board throughout, first of all, Star and Crown properties, but now obviously rolling out to pubs and clubs as well. So obviously there was a trial in New South Wales fairly recently. I'm not so sure how successful that trial was. But now it's Victoria's turn to put a bit of a trial in place. So 43 gaming venues. So that's actually quite a substantial number of venues to run the trial in. So hopefully they get some good feedback. And really, that's all about a couple of things: responsible gaming. They always talk it up in these about giving empowering players to have more control over their spend. More visibility for operators over player behaviours, that sort of thing, and also AML concerns. Obviously, much easier to track where the funds are going, who's putting money into what across the properties.
Yeah, I think this is the way of the future. I think we've got a story coming up in a little bit about carded play in New Zealand as well. I think for Australia and New Zealand, we're going to end up with the whole country being mandatory carded play. I think is the regulators and the government seem to want that. So not necessarily great for the industry, but it's the new reality, and that's the way it's going to be, I think, in Australia and New Zealand. All right, let's move on to the next story. Yes, just a little plug for ourselves. IAG Expo, September 8th to the 10th. We launched a new website on Monday this week, promoting that. So I won't go on too much about that. There you go. Oscar's pulled up the QR code. If you want to scan the QR code on your phone, that will take you straight to the iagexpo.com website. Everything you need to know there about the MAD on September the 8th evening, the awards on the September 9 evening, the summit on September 9 and September 10, two-day summit, and of course new in 2025, the two-day exhibition, IAG's first ever exhibition. So that'll be exciting, and we're really looking forward to that, working hard on that. Let's just move straight on to the next one, Oscar. Yes, Macau GGR. We've been going well in Macau, haven't we, Ben, the last few months? Been some big numbers.
Yeah, May and June is really, I think it signaled a bit of a shift in fortunes for Macau. We seem to have plateaued there for a while, just under the 20 billion Pataka range month to month, but suddenly we jumped up in May. Probably no surprise to jump up in May, given that we had Golden Week, of course, in there. But even Golden Week exceeded all expectations. They were doing $1 billion a day there during Golden Week, pretty incredible. But most impressively, I think, is that it continued into June, which is usually a month that lags a little bit following May. In fact, June gaming revenues were almost identical with May. And obviously the result of that is suddenly there's a bit of brightness, a bit of happiness looking forward to Macau's prospects about how things are travelling. And similar, the early read-throughs of July. Well, it's not too long to the end of the month, but that's been pretty strong July as well. So just looks like the switch has been flicked, Andrew, and things are starting to go north.
Yeah, I think we've got to a very stable place in Macau after a few years of instability, after a few years of Macau gaming law changing, the retendering for the licenses, the government's push on non-gaming. Things seems to have settled down a little bit, and we're running at 30 billion US a year, roughly 2.5 billion US a month, and that seems to be pretty stable. And while that is not a return to the 37 odd billion we had in 2019 in terms of revenue, or even the 43 billion peak in 2013, it is just as profitable, if not more profitable, because of course we don't have the junkets. We don't have the junket commissions. I won't say there's no junket industry in Macau, but there's very, very, it's a shadow of its former self, of course, and the commissions that are being paid to junkets now are negligible compared to what they were before. So EBITDA is, in fact, equal to or even more than 2019, particularly given the cost cutting that the casinos learnt, that the concessionaires learnt during the pandemic. So Macau going quite well, and of course not reflected in the share prices because of the ongoing, China-US tensions are depressing the prices of the shares. The stocks are listed on the Hong Kong Stock Exchange for the Macau concessionaires, but that should only be a matter of time as the profits keep on rolling in. All right, let's go to the next one. Looks like my connection's got some stability now, which is good. Philippines. This is the big issue in the Philippines at the moment, isn't it? The whole online gaming thing. We had the POGOs banned on January 1 this year, the Philippine offshore gaming industry, but now it's all about the PIGO regime, or the remote gaming regime, or whatever you want to call it, online gaming offered by the operators and other the online gaming operators, including the entertainment city operators and others. But there's a lot of heat in politics in the Philippines. There's a lot of billboard activity, a lot of advertising that's been cut out. So, Ben, comments on this?
Yeah, it's a interesting situation at the moment. I mean, as you said, Andrew, we saw the POGOs. In fact, it was almost almost a year ago to the day that the president in the Philippines first announced the POGO ban. That came into effect officially from the 1st of January this year. And I guess a lot of the anti-gambling forces in the Philippines, various politicians, senators, have now set their sights on the domestic online scene. It's interesting because there are quite a few differences between the two. I mean, the issues around POGO, of course, were related to all sorts of criminal activity going on, using POGO as a cover, really. That's not the case with the domestic scene. Where obviously the anti-gambling forces are targeting here are, the claims of gambling addiction and various things. Of course, important things to be wary of. But then the question is, should we go stricter regulation or a total ban? Well, Andrew, you and I agree on this. I think that total bans, prohibition, doesn't really work. Never has, never will. But we don't know what's going to happen yet. Actually, I should note the president gives his State of the Nation address on Monday, I believe. So it'll be interesting to see. I'd say there's a fair chance he will address this one way or the other on Monday. And give a bit of clarity, because at the moment there's a lot of uncertainty.
Yeah, well, this was the State of the Nation last year, was when he announced it for the POGOs, wasn't it? So I think Padcore a week or two ago announced that there would be no billboards, no advertising for online gaming. So trying to get online gaming to be a little bit less visible in Philippine society. So hopefully it can go under the radar a little bit. But anyway, let's see how this plays. It really is for the Philippine operators, because the revenue has been down. So, which I think we've got on a later story. Let's go to the next one, Oscar. You got the next one there for us, Oscar? There we go. Well, this is just, I think we just gloss over this one. Sky City mandatory carded play as well in its casinos. So it's jumping ahead of the game and doing mandatory carded play as well. Yeah. So this seems to really be the.
Yeah, Andrew, I agree. It's just the continuation, really, of what we spoke about earlier. Mandatory carded play sweeping out across Australia, across New Zealand. Of course, Sky City has a property in Adelaide in Australia as well. They've gone through the Austrac investigation.
Yeah.
Everything's sort of all linked together from the very first Bergen inquiry into Crown in Sydney. Everything that's followed and into New Zealand has really followed from that.
All right, let's go to the next one. So Sans figures yesterday, you did those, Ben. Perhaps you could have a word about that.
Yeah, really quite interesting. A lot of discussion on the earnings call. I mean, first of all, we should address Sans earnings. Probably two segments to that. There's Singapore and Macau. Macau earnings largely in line with expectations, but Sans did lose some EBIT market share. And they, in their earnings call, were quite open about admitting that they had underperformed in this segment, that they weren't happy about it, that they probably just expected that they would be fine based on the quality of their assets in Macau, the Londoner, the Venetian, the Parisian, etc. And that didn't happen. So their response is to up the aggression. We've written quite a bit over the past year or 18 months or so about the aggressive, the very competitive promotional environment in Macau. The comment from Sand is that we haven't been part of that, but we will be now. So that'll be interesting to see this new strategy roll out. They said they've started to do that over the past 2 months or so with some positive signs. So we'll see. They're targeting annualized EBITDA in Macau of 2.7 billion US. Current run rate's more around the 2.2, and Sands say that's just not where they should be. Of course, the opposite is in Singapore. Marina Bay Sands going absolutely gangbusters, breaking records again this quarter. It's pretty much an unstoppable beast over there, Andrew.
Yeah, I spent some time there earlier this year, and it was just simply amazing the time I spent there. I won't wax too lyrical about it, but the place was pumping, just absolutely heaving. It was so, and it just seems to be like that all the time now. And with this additional work they're doing, I mean, this 8 or 9 billion they're pouring into Tower 4, it's just incredible. I think we've all seen the videos of that, and it's just an amazing development by them. And I just can't imagine what that place is going to be like with Tower 4 as well. So anyway, that's still quite a few years off. I think it begins with a 3, not a 2. But when that opens, it'll be amazing. But they've already done all the renovation work in converting their rooms to suites, a lot more suites in the towers 1, 2, 3 as well. So it's not like we have to wait for Tower 4 to open before they start doing some numbers. They're doing incredible numbers right now. All right, let's move on to the next one. I think we're getting towards the end. In fact, I think this might be the last one. This is just really an excuse to talk about UAE a little bit. I think Light & Wonder got approved as a vendor, and Konami also got approved as a vendor this week for the UAE. I spent some time in the UAE earlier this year. I think it was March, April. Absolutely amazing. Went up to Ras Al Khaimah, had a look at the wind property up there, got the tour. I can't say too much, but it's going to be absolutely magnificent. I think the thing to note here is the regulator, IAG, and out again. There we go. I think I'm back again. Looks like the GCA, the regulator there, is doing a fantastic job. A very slow and steady job. They were missing for quite some time, obviously doing some stuff behind the scenes. Then their website emerged. Then they licensed the lottery there, and now they're slowly but surely working their way through licensing all the vendors. Is this number 13? Is it, Ben?
I think Konami is 14 actually. Light & Wonder was the 13th to receive a vendor license, and Konami number 14.
Okay, not sure what's going on there with I can't. Okay.
Looks like we've got you.
I'm back again now. And yes. Well, I have to apologise to everybody. We've done a whole bunch of dress rehearsals and everything, and it absolutely worked perfectly. This never happened once, but anyway.
Well, I'll jump in for you, Andrew, because you've broken up.
To take over for this one.
I will. I'll just jump in now. And I wrote this story yesterday. This is quite interesting. PAGCOR chair Alejandro Tanco just sort of spoke about this at a seminar yesterday. We don't know the full detailed results from 2Q yet, but he did mention the GGR for licensed casinos. And it really highlights that the trend for GGR, for the land-based licensed casinos, particularly in Manila, is on a bit of a downward trend at the moment. I mean, the reasons around that have been highly publicised. The collapse of the POGOs has impacted the high-end VIP. A lot of those POGO people were VIP players spending their money in the casinos there. Also, visitation, mainland China and from South Korea, is quite a bit down this year. I guess various reasons around that too, but the impact is being felt by the land-based casinos. So as you can see on the screen there, the combined GGR of Philippines IRs fell by 10.6% in 2Q versus Q1. So that trend, hopefully that stops soon, but a few challenges for that segment at the moment.
Yeah, certainly is. And there's a lot going on in the Philippines at the moment in terms of the big entertainment city operators too. There's a real sort of changing of the guard going on at the moment with Newport sort of coming up. I think Okada's doing it tough at the moment. Solair's obviously got new leadership. So it's a time of change in the Philippines, and we'll see how all that will play out. All right. Well, I think that wraps it up for the first ever episode. All the technical difficulties again. Apologies to everybody. Apparently, I've got the super speed according to speed test, but coming in and out, I blame CTM for my connection issues. And but Ben, thanks for covering, and thanks to Oscar behind the scenes. And we will be back 10 a.m. Friday next week. And every week, 10 a.m. Fridays, and also occasionally other times as well when there's big breaking news. Thanks again, Ben.
No, it's been good, Andrew. I've enjoyed it. Something new for IAG.
Yes, it is, and we'll develop it and improve it as time goes on. We're always trying to innovate and trying to do different stuff here at IAG. Have a great weekend, and we will see you all next Friday, 10 a.m. Bye for now.